Hello and welcome to this tutorial for a homemade patchwork quilted zipper jacket. And yes, that's my husband wearing it. He also looks really good in it. It started out with a big piece of quilted fabric, like the white satin quilted fabric that you can see. And then I just made lots of triangles with some different colored blues, different shades of blue. And then some different pattern fabric that I liked and I thought would match well together. So I'm taking one piece of blue and one piece of pattern, and I'm going to use that, and then also some blue band that I've cut from also some cotton material that I'm going to put in between these squares. But I'm starting with making some patterns, and I'm going to go with both pattern plus pattern and pattern plus blue. I'm just going to use what I have. I've cut some squares and then just simply cut them into some triangles, and it's really simple. I don't spend that much time on measuring, so it's pretty much just cut as you go and sew as you go, and then we see where it ends. Yes, see, that's exactly what I'm going for, just a square, somehow a square, and then I'm going to put some blue band in between. So now you can watch me make a lot of different squares made of triangles, and that is basically what I'm going to be doing for a while, and then I'm going to see how they match up, how they fit together. I am now done with sewing all these pieces together, and as I tried to show before, I have made the triangles into rectangles, and then I've just added these stripes of blue where I thought it looked good and to give it some more space, and I have ironed them so they're kind of flat, and I've made some pieces that I think will fit with the different pieces I need for the jacket, for the coat, but I'm not quite sure yet. But these two are supposed to be for the sleeves, and then there is a big one here that is supposed to be for the back, and then two pieces that will be for the two front pieces of the coat. So I'm just going to pop them over here to the side first. This is what they look like on the back. Not that pretty, but that's okay. Oops. Then I've decided to make the pattern of the new coat from a coat I have already made that is kind of loose, and that looks like this, because this is really comfortable. Yeah, I remember I need to stitch that pocket up, definitely. So I'm going to try to make a pattern from that. Very basic, very basic. And I was going to use this quilted fabric as the lining. It's already quilted, so it's very nice. And then I'm going to attach that to the blue patchwork bit, and then I'm going to, of course, also quilt a bit on top of the blue, and then just have the lining as that will be then. So I need something for both the back and the two front pieces. So I need to make sure first that I have two pieces that are big enough for that. Then I will make them pretty and perfect, or more perfect, afterwards. And this is the technique you can do if you have a simple coat. Then you can actually just use that as to make a pattern from. And if you cut it as big as possible when you begin, then it's going to work well, and you probably won't make any mistakes. That's fine. So first of all, I'm going to cut for the back piece and the front piece at the same time, and I have to make a bit more space for the front because I need something to close it. So I simply just mark very loosely around it, because when you quilt on top of things, they often move a bit, and yeah, you can never be sure exactly if the pattern pieces will fit. So it's very loosely, maybe 3 centimeters seam allowance, maybe a bit more all around. And I'm actually going to make these sleeves very square, so I think I will just not worry about that mark, I just cut like this instead. So as you can see here, I've got one side cut nicely to the shape, and I will just fold this up, and then I'll take one of these layers, and that will be to make the front part of the jacket, and then I'll cut so it's the same here on the other part of the front layer for the jacket. So I'm not cutting through all the layers with this, just one layer. And then I'm cutting this bit open since it is for the two front parts, and this part needs to be open like this. For the back, I can make it a little bit smaller, a couple of centimeters smaller, because I don't have to spend any space on the front opening. There will be a fold here. So let's see how that works. Or is this actually like the same size? I just need to check. Yes, that is almost the same, so I need to make this a tiny little bit smaller. Yes, now it works better. And so that was the piece for the back of the quilt. And then it's the two sleeve pieces I need to do. They're a little bit more difficult because on this coat the sleeves actually have a shape to them, but as you could see before, I just folded in the sleeve pretty flat, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to mark off the sleeve as if it was just very, very flat. So let me see how long it is. Is there enough there? There's hardly enough, I don't dare. So let's go over here where there's a bit more fabric. I need two sleeves that are folded, so I'm just going to fold this one up. So we've got two layers here, and I'm going to fold both those layers at the same time. And then I'm going to add the edge of the coat here where I basically folded it in, and then try to let the fold, the aligned fold here meet this, and then just think about, I want the coat, I want the line to follow this, so that means I need a bit more seam allowance on this side. So if that's the line, I need the seam allowance to be on this side. If that's the line, I need the seam allowance to be on this side. So I will mark here and then just mark up again. If my fold is here, I want the seam allowance to be approximately there. Yeah, that's a really beautiful blue line there. And then got to have some seam allowance here as well. I'm making the sleeve a little bit longer because then I can always make it shorter after it's been attached to the patchwork bit. So here we have the two sleeves. Away with the coat, away with the rest of the quilt. Two sleeves, the back bit, and the two front bits. I need my spray, and this is great for attaching fabric to each other. I'll start with the back piece here and see how they fit and size. That's the piece, and that's the piece here. Wow, that is pretty close. And then of course it needs to be this bit that's going out. So I will simply spray on the fabric and then place this on top and then cut. Getting ready to spray. And then making sure that this is positioned right. And I've got to be quite fast with this because it actually sticks. And then I'm simply smoothing it, flattening it. Very nice. And then this bit is simply ready to put through the machine and to quilt. I'm just going to make some long lines and I'm going to follow the lines that are on this. So I'm going to just again go a bit freestyle because that's what I do. And I'm going to do the rest, I'm going to do the rest with the other pieces for the coat. And for these, they actually don't fit completely, but that is okay. I'm not going to stitch anything extra on because I cut these quilt pieces quite large because you always need a bit of room. So I just hope that it's going to work out even though they don't fit completely. Now that the pieces are in place, I can just trim away a bit of the excess. That's especially here around the sleeves. And now the pieces are ready to put into the machine, and I'm just going to make some random lines up and up, and that's just going to be it. So I'm not going to be too worried about the pattern that is on the inside of the already ready-made quilted lining. And that's the first sleeve done. And you can see the lines are here, 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 here. What I've done basically is that I started in the center here, approximately in the center, and then I had that line to then fold down here for the next line. So I tried to use that as just an easy casual way of measuring. And that's simply how I'm also going to go along with the rest of the pieces.
And as you can see now, I've quilted the pieces and I've also made some pockets that I've put on. At least one pocket. I'm going to put another one on as well, and that's for the two front pieces. So I've taken a square piece with two triangles and added some other fabric on the back of it. And then I'm just going to fold it in towards the back to make the top. And I'm going to stitch that in place, and then it will practically be ready to put on the other front piece of the patchwork coat. And I'm trying to measure them so they're a little bit similar, but as you know, if you know me, I'm not that fussed about it. It's yeah, it's pretty okay, just as it is. But I'm just stitching that closed at the top. All the way around the other three sides, they've been stitched from the inside by placing the two triangle piece square and the backside square in towards each other, but that last opening I'm just stitching as you just saw me do. Now I'm just putting it onto the piece, yes, and I'm going to stitch all those three sides. I'm going to stitch that pocket securely onto the front piece of the coat. And I just always love it when there's pockets. That is so nice. It's great to have something to put your keys in, to put your phone in, to put your hands in. And yes, I enjoy making pockets in this way. It's really simple, it's quick, and it actually looks cool. And you can do something with the pattern pieces, the fabric as well. So that's pretty cool. That's the two front pieces ready. Nice. That's the zipper, that's going to go in there. So yeah, it's not the full length of the front, but that will be fine. And that's the back piece, and you can see here how I'm going to add the two front pieces on top of the back piece, and then I'm going to stitch down the shoulder seams. Yes, just like that. I'm just aligning them just to see how they fit. And I will have to make space for a neck opening, and then later on I will make sure that the neck opening fits. As you can see here now, I have stitched it onto each other, the back piece with the two front pieces, and now I'm going to add the sleeve as well. So I'm finding the middle of the sleeve and then stitching it onto the front piece and onto the back piece. I'm just using some wonder clips to hold it in place, because that's quick and that's how I like to do it, to not have too many pins and needles around, because they always end up in my thigh somehow, and that's not a lot of fun. Cool, that was one sleeve stitched onto the coat, and of course now I'm going to stitch it closed. So I'm going to go down from the arm opening and all the way down the side. Just going to stitch that in place. I've done that now on both sides. Magic! And now you can see that it's a coat. But as you can see, the opening for the neck still looks weird because I haven't made a neck opening yet. It's just a square, it's just a line, and that's of course not going to be a very nice neck opening. So I'm just going to mark here approximately where I want it. And I'm always marking a very small neck opening, and then I'm going to try it on to see how it fits. And then I can always mark it and cut it wider. That is much better. And also with the sleeves, I'm folding them up like this so you can see approximately how they fit, and then I mark it, and yeah. I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller there and see how the sleeves fit. And woo, nice Gracie hair. Well done, Caroline. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, I'm excited here because my coat is almost done, or at least very close to being done. Yes, and I'm just testing out the pockets because, hey, it's great to test out pockets. Yes, that was it. Okay, so that's me marking where I'm gonna fold up the sleeves. Yeah, just gonna cut that bit off because I'm actually not gonna fold up the sleeves. I'm gonna maybe add some tape. I don't know, quite sure what I'm gonna do, but on this I'm gonna cut the neck and the back neck opening a little bit wider as I adjusted, or as I saw when I was wearing it. I'm just gonna see that it's aligned in both sides, that it's pretty much the same. That it's not a big difference, so that it's really a lot wider on one side and then, yeah, not so wide on the other side. And yes, you can see here, I'm not gonna fold up the sleeves, and I'm not gonna fold the neck opening either. I'm just gonna add some bias tape because I love bias tape. It's such a great way of finishing a coat like this. And that's the zipper. Yes, I'm just checking where it's gonna go and how it's gonna be added. Cool. It's always important that you check where, like, which way to turn the zipper so you have it out towards the front and you have like the zipper teeth facing in the right direction. So move it about a little bit and maybe just stitch it on like really with like loose stitches first, so you can just see that it's where you want it, and before you stitch it on really carefully, really tight. And this is like pretty much the only place I like to use pins. That's when I put a zipper in, just to be sure that it's where I want it. So I've stitched in the first place, and then I'm just gonna stitch like it down so it holds. So I'm going to fold the zipper out in towards the back, the edge of the zipper, so the front is facing out with the teeth, and I'm just going to stitch it in place. Also, I've added bias tape to the side here, or to the opening of the coat. Yeah, it doesn't look amazing on the back, but that's the style of this coat. It looks really good from the front. So this is where I put the bias tape onto the opening, the neck opening, just stitching it in place here, all the way around, putting it in the first fold towards the right. Make sure the bias tape and the front of the fabric is facing front to front. Stitching it on all the way around the neck opening, down like that, and making sure there's a little bit of extra bias tape on both sides. Just cutting the excess off and just folding it in just like that, and making sure the edge of the fabric is covered inside. And why is it that the machine always makes a little problem when you're filming something important? You know, that just happens. Putting it in again, I folded the bias tape in towards the back. Can you believe this? I could have edited this out, but it's also fun to see, right, that my machine sometimes also plays up. So you know that it's not just you. That's just a little service announcement for all of you. My machine is sometimes really annoying as well. But I'm folding it down towards the back, in towards the back, and you can see I'm trying to hide the edge of the fabric inside, and where there's too much fabric, I'm just cutting a little bit off, and like that, I'm hiding all the raw edges, and I'm folding it in towards the back at the edges, and what a pretty opening. Just fixing the zipper, cutting off some threads, and what a beautiful neck opening. It's going, so we're going to be ready to go into the machine now. It's being folded up in towards the back. As you can see here, it's coming out. I'm just stitching it in place. So just folding that serged edge in towards the back, 1 or 2 centimeters, and then just simply stitching it in place. It's as simple as that, and then it's almost done. I just need to do the sleeves, and I've kept the zipper closed, as you can see, and that's because it's nice to check that the two front openings are the same length, and I'm just giving it an extra stitch here all the way around, so it looks like I've been doing it with a twin needle. So if you finish the hemming with the zipper open, sometimes it doesn't fit completely, so I like to hem it when the zipper is closed. And I'm doing the same with sleeve openings, just folding them in towards the back a little bit. I could have also done it with bias tape, but for some reason I chose not to do it. Perhaps because I actually didn't cut off that much, so there was still a centimeter to fold in towards the back. And then I just thought, okay, this is simple, this is easy, this is quick. So it's not the prettiest coat on the inside, but on the front, I really, really like it. It's just fun to look at. I love the blue colors. I love the different patterns. That there's both some like tiny floral pattern, and then there is a bit more decorative. Like you can actually see what it is with the squirrels and the unicorns and the foliage. And yeah, I just think it's fun. And it was very easy to make. If you have a simple coat that you can mark from, and just a lot of fabric with leftovers, and some quilted lining, then you're ready to go. And yes, everybody looks good in this. It's very cool. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a long video. Bye.